Good evening everybody, Kawasaki here, and it's a lovely, actually it's too hot, keep saying that, don't I? Sorry, sorry Bandit Dev, I know you've got it a lot hotter than we have, but yeah, it's a hot evening, Friday evening, at 23 degrees C, and this is the first time that I've been riding with Mrs. C, as you might be able to see from the shadow there, with Mrs. C on the back, since Mrs. C came out of the hospital. It's just doing a very short run, which is probably for the best because the bike's telling me it's got a range of a whole 24 miles. So doing a very short run across to the seaside, to a place called Hornsey, where we know there's a little cafe up where we can go and have a cup of tea and watch the sea go in and out. Well, not in and out tidally, you know, not staying there that long. We can watch the waves and have a cuppa. I think Mrs. C might have an ice cream as well. She's under strict instructions to try and put on weight. Anyway, I thought I'd record a little video on my way. I was looking at my my bike spreadsheet the other day, 2 days ago in fact. I was looking at my bike spreadsheet, and my bike spreadsheet is just a spreadsheet I've created using the old Google Sheets. Handy because you can use it on your laptop or a tablet or your phone or whatever, and I keep my entire service history for the bike on it, so everything I've done to the bike is logged with the mileage and the date when it was done, and some extra details. So every so often I might record some extra details, like what are my tyres doing in terms of tyre tread, that kind of thing, how much is left on the brake pads, that kind of thing, and I can kind of track how I'm getting through brake pads. I mean, I've never changed the brake pads on this bike. I've had them out to clean the calipers and stuff, but they just don't wear down that much. I guess I don't use them enough. I thought I'd have a quick check of it because I thought it's bound to be about time to do oil and filter on this, if nothing else. Anyway, the date I checked turned out the day before it was due. So it's actually going to be a little bit late now because it was due yesterday, and well, I haven't got the oil or the filter. I've ordered it. Should turn up on Monday. As I said, today's Friday, so probably get done on Tuesday. It's 5 or 6 days late, but who cares? It's not going to matter, is it? While I was checking it, I noticed that the bike, now I've had it for about 6 years, and I thought it's about time I did a review, really, a 6-year long-term review. I mean, you don't get much more long-term than that, do you? I think this model of bike started in 2014, and I bought mine in 2016, so I suppose you could go a little bit longer. And I started thinking about reviews because I happen to be doom scrolling on Twitter. There's a waste of your life, isn't it? And also kind of going through YouTube, less of a waste of your life, I think. I was scrolling through and watching videos and looking at tweets and all that kind of stuff, and I noticed a lot of reviews for the same product, Bulldog something or other. A surprisingly lot of views, and I've noticed that in the past with things as well. It seems to be a product comes out and suddenly there's a heck of a lot of reviews, all reviewed on the same date, and to me that means not a single one of them reviews can be trusted. Now the reason I say that is, well, I've worked with a lot of companies in my time. I know quite a lot of things work, and I know the old influencer business works, and if everything's reviewed on the same date and you've never seen a review of that product beforehand, that generally means that the company has requested that review, and what they've done is they've put an embargo on reviews until a certain date, and that's why everybody wants to get their review out first. Because why wouldn't you? If you're a YouTuber, and especially if you're a YouTuber trying to make money out of things, you want that review out first. You want to be the one that people go to and know that they're going to get that information before anybody else, don't you? So it's completely understandable that the YouTube would want to do that. or the influencer, depending on how you look at it. I mean, some people set out to be influencers, whereas other people just set out to do reviews and then become influencers accidentally. And other people don't probably realise that they're doing it at all. I'm right at the other end of the scale, that if I review something, it's something I've bought and I'm reviewing it for a reason. Either I like it or I don't, or I think people might be interested. But a lot of these reviews are clearly either paid for. So if you're a big influencer, if you've got, you know, 1 million subscribers or something, and that's a huge reach that you've got, then these companies will happily pay substantial amounts of money to these people to do reviews. If you've got, you know, a few tens of thousands of subscribers, or even, you know, sub 10,000 subscribers, you might get a free product in order to do that review. And if you're me, you buy it yourself, as I say. But I don't think you can trust that on any scale. If you're being paid to do reviews, I think we can all understand that. You know, if somebody comes along and says, I'll pay you £1,000 or even £100 to review this product, there's an expectation, isn't there? There's an expectation that might not be entirely truthful, that certainly the review will have to be positive. And I know some people will say, well, I get paid to do reviews, but they don't tell me I've got to be positive. But I do wonder how many of those reviews would continue to be positive, or would continue at all if they were negative. Continue to be positive if they're negative. Hopefully you understand what I mean. If you started putting out negative reviews whilst being paid to review something by the company that makes said thing, then I would imagine that company's not going to look on you too favourably anymore. So when they come up with the next product and they're looking for people to review it, you're not going to be at the top of the list. If you're being paid for that, and if that's effectively your business, I think that makes you probably consciously very careful about what you say. Although you might fit into the next category that I'm going to talk about, which is those people who are just being given a product for free to review. I think those people fall into the same potential trap, that if you're given a product to review for free, you may subconsciously be a bit careful about what you say. Yeah, if the product's a little bit crap, you might say, you know, it doesn't perform as well as expected, or maybe you'll say, you know, it's acceptable, brilliant in all these areas, but acceptable in this area, when actually you think it's not really that acceptable. You may do that consciously or subconsciously because, you know, you've been given something for free. One thing is, you might want more stuff for free, and another thing is that actually it's been shown psychologically that if somebody gives you a gift, you tend to want to repay them in some way or other, consciously or otherwise. It used to be a classic trick that if a salesperson came to your business and tried to sell you something, he'd give you something, and then you kind of feel like you're in debt. And this is a primal thing. Monkeys of various sorts actually exhibit the same behaviour. So I think whenever you see reviews like that, there's always a risk that they're not as truthful, not as truthy as maybe they should be. Any review I do will be entirely truthful, because I've never been paid, I've never been given anything free to do a review of, and I never will. And if a company comes to me and says, if we give you this, will you review it for us? I'll say no. I know a lot of people say, well, I will, but I'll be honest. But I don't entirely trust myself to be fully honest subconsciously, because of that I've just said. I will admit, I mean, I've been accused with some of the reviews of things. I've not done many reviews, and I think I still will do the review of the bike, the long-term review, and a few other things as well. But every one of them will be something I've bought. Nobody has asked me to review with the promise of money or goods or anything positive at all. And say, I will be honest with you, Nothing I've ever reviewed has had any of that behind it. One thing I've reviewed did end up with me getting a free gift, but I will say that it had no bearing on the review at all, and that review was of the Skylift, the ABBA Skylift. And I'll tell you why it had no bearing on it at all. I did the review, and ABBA found out that I did the review and said, "Oh, well, thank you very much for the positive review," and sent me a free gift. They sent me a little tray that you attach to the Skylift to put your tools in and bits and bobs, bolts and things, as you undo it. I've never actually used that part because they forgot to send the fixing kit. So I've got the tray, but not the fixing kit. And that's not me saying to ABBA, please send me a fixing kit. If I could be bothered, I would just get some screws from Pound Shop or something. Yeah, I have been asked to do reviews in the past by people who watch this channel, where I've actually bought something and people have seen it and said, would you do a review of that? And I apologise now because I don't think I've ever actually got around to doing any of the reviews. I just made a note that I should, and then, you know, like many times, I never actually get around to doing any of this stuff. There's always something in the way. Anyway, I'll shut up now because I've probably gone on too long. Even though it is only a short ride from Mrs. C, and it's going to be a nervous ride back because now the gauge has started flashing, and also is no longer showing me the range, so I don't even know how many miles I can do now before I run out of petrol. That wouldn't be good, would it? First time she's back on the bike after her operations, and she ends up having to help me push it home. So anyway, I'll stop now, but let me know what you think in the comments. And if there is anything you want me to review that I already own, and I forgot to, do remind me. And I'll try and remember to do a review of this bike 6 years on. Thanks for watching, everyone. Ride safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.